Carlos, boa tarde, professor Cláudio. Tudo bem?
Boa tarde, tudo bom?
Tudo bom, Ana?
Oi, tudo bem, Otávio?
Tudo ótimo.
O microfone desligado e a câmera para poder melhorar a sessão, tá bom?
Bom,
Boa apresentação para vocês.
obrigado.
Obrigado. Zé Carlos vai fazer tudo em inglês, né? Ou...
O coordenador manda.
Seguindo as ordens do Congresso.
Ok.
O coordenador da seção de contabilidade gerencial que decide.
Que é o antes.
É.
Let's go.
Okay. Right. Try English, see what's come out. So, hello everybody. I hope you are well, and we're going to start this session for the plenary of the conference. The idea that the presenter has 10 minutes to present the overall idea of the paper. I have seen that he posts as well on YouTube a short view of the presentation, so you can also access on YouTube. And after 10 minutes, I have as a discussion 10 minutes, so around 10 minutes as well to provide my feedback, and then you have 5 minutes for José Carlos and me to have a chat if necessary or not. Okay, and then you have, for the public, you have 5 minutes, okay? So more or less like that, 10 minutes presentation, 10 minutes for the discussion, 5 minutes for your questions. So, José Carlos, you can start the presentation anytime that you want.
Thank you, Professor Claudio. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this session. I will present. I will share this presentation. The paper is called "The Impact of Leading Indicators on Performance Anxiety," made by me and by my co-authors, Otávio, Ronaldo, and also Anderson. Our motivations are the following, because work anxiety is a big issue for companies and academia. And as professor, we are sometimes anxious about our performance made by our students. So sometimes it's better to see our performance evaluation after the holidays. Performance anxiety is a subject totally connected with performance management systems. And as researcher in management account field, we are worried about the potential negative effect of performance management system. So we are arguing that management accounting could be connected with performance anxiety by the use of leading and lagging indicators. So we are agreeing that leading indicators could be considered as an influence of performance anxiety. So in this slide, you can see the moment where the phenomenon that we are trying to investigate, the moment when an employee is receiving or is trying to receive their feedback or trying to see the report. So we are particularly interested in investigating this moment. Our theoretical model, you can see in this slide, in blue, the constructs in management account field. In fact, we are trying to innovate in this field. To the best of our knowledge, these constructs were not made, were not known. So we are, in this case, we can consider like an exploratory paper. In yellow, the constructs from the field of psychology. So hypothesis 1 states that lead indicators influence positively performance forecast. Performance forecast in this case, like it's like a capability to the employee that can see, that can forecast their performance. So our hypothesis is arguing in this idea. If an employee use lead indicators, they can better forecast their performance. And with a better forecast, performance forecast, it could reduce the performance anxiety. So we are in the hypothesis 3. In the hypothesis 2, we argue that lead indicators reduce performance anxiety, and the others, extrinsic motivation and perfectionism, the constructs from the field of psychology, influence positively performance anxiety. So our concept of lead indicators is quite different from the management accounting literature, because normally management account literature is related to the time horizon. And now in our case, like financial and non-financial performance indicators. So we are interested in the task perspective. That's our interest. So we are using a task perspective instead of non-financial and financial perspective, or short-term, long-term, or time horizon. In this particular, our concept is influenced by the business literature, the practitioner literature, because in Google you can see the definition of lead indicators like that. Lead indicators for us show if the initiative has been carried out. Lead indicators are focused on process and tasks, in this case short-term operational tasks. And lag indicators show if the initiative has obtained any result. So lag indicators are focused on results and outcomes. We developed this scale of lead indicators by the authors, asking the respondents some questions about, for example, I know what I must do routinely to achieve the goals. I monitor if I am doing these activities. I know the tasks I need to do in my routine, and indicators measure properly if tasks are being done. For example, forecast performance. Forecast performance is normally used in economics and finance studies, like the value, the economic value of the firm, the market value of the firm, something like that. We are using forecast performance in our organizational goal perspective, in our employee perspective. So we measure this construct, asking the respondents about, I cannot predict with good success whether or not I have achieved the goals. I have no surprise when I see the results of my performance. When they do accomplish the tasks, we already know that the results will be affected. It's like a capability about the employee to forecast their own performance. And performance anxiety. Performance anxiety, we base we built this construct based on literature, previous literature, and in the field of psychology, with small adaptations to the Brazilian context language. For example, I feel tense before seeing the results about my performance. My heart speeds up before I see the results, something like that. And one reverse question, unfortunately, was eliminated during this process, like other studies. Extrinsic motivation. It's a construct from the field of psychology. So extrinsic motivation is related to the perspective for receiving any benefits, bonus, compensations, promotions, and others. So we measure in five indicators, particularly about bonus, about the efforts that the employee can do if they receive any benefits. And perfectionism is about the characteristics of the personal characteristics, not organizational, in our view. Perfectionists are goal-oriented individuals who put excessive high standards, and we measure these constructs I think the statistical test is not good in this case, but in exploratory we maintain this construct and asking the respondents about when something doesn't go as a planned, I feel frustrated and something like that. I will talk about a little about our research method. We collect data in a non-probabilistic sample. It's like a combination of three sample base and with 179 respondents. We use the structural equation model like Smart POS software. So in this slide, you can see our model extracted from the Smart PLS, the indicators, the R squared, the R, etc. So that's the results. In blue, the hypotheses were supported, and in red, not supported, and in green, partially supported. So our results show that lead indicators influence positively performance forecast, and not influence, not confirm the other hypothesis, not confirming the performance anxiety, even though we state with a negative sign, but our results show a positive influence, but not confirmed. And hypothesis 3 was partially supported with negative coefficient. So the idea is performance forecast can reduce performance anxiety. Directly lead indicators doesn't influence performance anxiety, but mediated by the performance forecast, that is we are trying to defend that performance forecast is like a capability. Lead indicators in this case reduce, mediate by the performance forecast. And the others constructs from the literature were supported. Extrinsic motivation influence positively performance anxiety, and perfectionism influences positively also performance anxiety. In this slide, the idea is talk about the discussions. Our argument that we are proposed that by using lead indicators, people can predict better their performance, be more realistic, and can feel less anxious. If people can forecast with more accuracy their future performance, they can feel more realistic. The idea is confirming that, and reduce their performance anxiety. In this case, the literature about psychology show that realists have less stress than pessimists and optimists. It's like a recent study with rich people. Lead indicators has the same role as the use of budgets in ambiguous and uncertain environment. I'm sorry, but these two both references were not included in our paper. We are reviewing Claudio, our paper, and we included this both reference, and the paper from Margison and Ogden, and in the idea that defending this paper and using budget in ambiguous and uncertain environment can cause more confidence. So managerial implications of our study, normatively speaking, is that controllers should emphasize the use of lead indicators to achieve better forecast performance and reduce performance anxiety. This idea we are trying to defend in our executive course that we are taught. Of course, our paper has a lot of limitations. This result could be useful, I think, just for operational task activities. Unfortunately, these operational task activities were being eliminated by artificial intelligence, something like that. And our sample is most composed by professionals who work in the fields of accounting, finance, and controllership. So the results could be different if you use the other profile, professional profile. Studies about the other profiles like teachers, salesperson, physicians, etc., could be good. And qualitative studies could explore different aspects of this phenomenon by interview. And field interventions, we are trying to work on it, but it's quite difficult to find a company that, as Anton mentioned in his paper, it's quite difficult to find a company that accepted to manipulate some information about that. So thank you for audience. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, José Carlos, for the presentation. If you can stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
My presentation. Okay. Thank you very much, José Carlos Iodomari, for the presentation. It's a pleasure to be here to discuss your paper. So I'm going to start here with the strengths of your paper. So I start to say that I enjoyed read the paper. And I think the topic, as you mentioned, the motivation for the paper, I tend to agree that is you need more research about this topic. But I don't go as far as you go and say that it has never been studied conjunct MEA constructs. I'll be a bit careful about this statement, but I understand. I think you need more research this topic, so I tend to agree with that. I like the theoretical model and the hypothesis. I think overall case have a potential for a contribution. I like the design and the logic behind the ideas. Okay. So this is the positive aspects of my comments. And now I try to give some feedback in terms of if I was reviewing this paper what I should put in my report as a reviewer. So first I have some issues here. The sample, as you mentioned there, has three different sets, a range of position functions. So it's a bit for an international journal, as I think you're targeting. You need to explain that and a bit more the rationale behind, because they're going to ask about that, but that's all right, but you need to explain a bit better. This is a limitation for the study. I think in terms of the hypothesis development, the theoretical bit of this could be improved as well, but you can, if you want, maybe you can chat another time about that. Don't have time to explain everything, but I think you could improve a little bit more in this area. Another aspect that you can improve the paper is try to explain a bit better why you choose those variables to understand this phenomenon of performance anxiety. I think you need to strengthen this theoretical support for your arguments why you choose those variables. That's all right. So you just need to explain, but I think you are going to be able to do that. I have noticed that you have no control variables in the model in this paper, but I think you're thinking about to include some. So be interested to see all the variables that influence your dependency variable that you can control based on your sample or the aspects. So these are the overall issues that I could raise in my review report. But I want to focus this. I have a limited time in this presentation, to discuss this paper. So I'd like to focus more on these two variables. I understand a bit more now because of your presentation, a point that you made that different concepts of the lead indicator from practitioner side and the academic side. So this is my is a point that I start to read your paper, and I kind of stop and try to think about this concept of lead indicator. So I'm going to concentrate my presentation in this aspect of lead indicator, the use of lead indicator, because the heart of your paper. The title is the impact of lead indicator in performance anxiety. So it's the two main things for your paper: performance anxiety and the use of lead indicators. So you state that in the conclusion of your paper that the paper innovates because how the use of the lead indicator influence performance anxiety. So this is the core of your paper. So I decided to concentrate my suggestions or my criticism in this aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned that definition that now it become more clear for me, the idea that you use, because when you try to define leading indicators, keep up in the time, when you mention the definition of lead indicator, I have two aspects here. This is the same paragraph in the introduction that you say that lead indicators measures whether processes and activities are being carried out as planned, and in your presentation say that a more practitioner view. And then you have the academic definition that I'm used to seeing the balanced scorecard, all the papers that these indicators, the lead indicators, are forward-looking measures that capture long-term effects. The idea that is very popular, the idea that you mentioned in your presentation as well. So it's kind of connect the idea of non-financial indicators, cause effect. So when I saw your title for the first time, I was thinking about that idea of non-financial cause and effect in terms of use of lead indicators. So this is a key point for me. Okay, I understand that I'll use the practitioner, but the whole academic field defined in a slightly different way. So it'll be hard to defend that you use lead indicators when the academic side is using this other definition. Because if I cross here leading and just say performance indicator measures where the process and the activities are being carried out as planned, I think I have a good definition of performance indicator that you include everything. Financial, non-financial, is an indicator that try to measure that you achieve a goal or a monitor. So this is the definition of a performance indicator. So carrying on my presentation here, I agree with you in a point here that I think by the end I'm going to have this point. What I'm going to say now, you are trying to see to understand the task or activity measurement system. Maybe it's not lead indicators, but task and the active. Maybe you can call it this way, or you can call it this way. Maybe it'll be easier to defend academically speaking, because it's a bit confusing. In the way that you ask as well, the two constructs that you also present before, there is one issue here that was developed by the authors. So it's something that if you get a strict review, he's going to question me, why you developed this measure? What the base for that? So need to explain a bit more the theoretical reason to develop by yourself these measures. So it's something that you have to be very careful to explain to the reviewers why I developed that, and there was the base for that. And you can show the stats later to say that it's all right. It's the stats, the measure works well, but you need to support this theoretically as well, the idea why you develop by yourself. If I was a reviewer, is something that I would stress you to do if you are not able to do, probably it'll be difficult to me to accept. But the items that you use here, it's not very related to the idea of the academic view of leading.
Yeah.
Indicators. I think you want to measure task and the activity.
Yeah.
I'm going to the end of my presentation to have some time for
Okay.
discussion. I have the same problem with the performance forecast. I think you need a more theoretical basis for this construct. Again, it was developed by the authors. But I got very confused with this performance forecast as well. Maybe the labeling, maybe something else, I don't know. So maybe something that you need to explore. Maybe we can have a informal chat later, some another day. So my central point, my suggestion maybe, as the way that I see the paper from the academic side, that the leading performance indicator plus performance forecast, maybe it's one measure. It's like try to measure the quality of the task in the activity performance measurement system that this individual has, like how good it is. You know, if they are able to predict things, if they are able to measure adequately your performance. I think we'll measure something different. I might suggest something quality, I don't know, something like how good is your task in the activity performance measurement system. And I think I see these two things more in this way. It's hard to me to buy the idea that you are trying to measure leading performance indicator as the academic side view, leading performance indicator, the idea of cause effect, long-term performance. Maybe we should call like something like task and activity performance measurement system, and influence performance anxiety, something like that. But there is a side effect of that, because I think when you say that you are trying to understand the relationship between lead indicators and performance anxiety, this is much more stronger than you try to see that the quality of the performance measurement system of tasks and activities has influence or has a kind of relationship in performance anxiety. So it's a more kind of common sense to understand. I have a high quality performance measurement system, of course, the performance anxiety is going to reduce. It's not so different, as I'll say, like it's not a less common sense than say that leading performance indicator has a relationship with performance anxiety. You know what I mean? Like if you go with my suggestion, I think you lose a bit of your argument, but I think it's the thing that I measure here. So they have these pros and cons to you reflect, but as a review, I would have this problem to buy the idea of accept that you are doing leading performance indicators. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to stop here because we have some time for discussion. I think you went too far. So maybe we'll have a formal chat later, and let's open for the audience to have a couple of questions. Anyone wants to have a contribution or a question for Jose Carlos? Have like 5 minutes.
Yes, I thank you for your comments. Your review is very interesting for us. We are adopting, in fact, about the name of the constructs. We are reviewing some frameworks from Mershon and Van der Stede and trying to see that action controls, but action controls is focused on behavior and frauds, etc. We reviewed the framework from Malmi Brown also, and we couldn't fit with this framework. So tasks, I think, as you suggest, could be a good idea for us. Recalling these constructs like task controls or task indicators, and performance forecasts about tasks, about the operational performance. In fact, it's not just about the EVA but in particular about sales, production, etc. Tasks, operational activities.
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea because it was very difficult to see the lead indicators as a balance scorecard is embedded in your mind.
Yes, you are right. It's more difficult to change the content of this construct, the name of construct, because lead indicators, as you said, it's connected more amplified with balance scorecard idea. So, but it's a good suggestion.
We have a couple of questions here from the chat, so I'll try to do one or two. Eduardo Lavarda, thank you for the question. He said, congratulations for the presentation. Wouldn't there be an organizational level variable that can explain anxiety, performance anxiety, like the scope of the management account system or something like that? I think it's my idea of why do you choose those variables.
Size, etc. sector. Good suggestion. We didn't try yet. Good idea. Thanks.
Okay. Daniel Musi, thanks for the question as well. He said, interest paper, congratulations, Professor Iodomari. I had the same perception as Professor Claudio about the lead indicator. When I read the instrument, I find some similarities regarding the construct or ambiguity or some related. So if you can give a suggestion about, try to see the construct about the ambiguity, measurement, ambiguity, kind of things. I think it's a good suggestion as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Daniel, wants to say something?
First, congratulate Professor Iodomari for the paper. I had the same impression as you, Claudio, that the lead indicator didn't convince, the construct didn't convince me a lot because there are some items, I think the two, lead 4 and lead 3, that are similar to some of the instruments that were used for role ambiguity or task ambiguity, something related. And maybe another suggestion that I could make is there is a paper from Van Dix that she discussed about the role of lead and lag indicators for performance measurement and rewarding. Maybe you could discuss this difference of on the use of lead indicators, because I imagine that if used for rewarding, maybe the effect size, the association with anxiety could be lower than for performance measurement, something like related. This is something that I thought about when watching your presentation and Professor Claudio's comments.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. 5 minutes to end. 4 minutos para acabar. Tá. The final question, just the last one here. Ana Maria, obrigado. Thank you. The paper is interesting. I suggest to use the literature HIM about performance evaluation, scales about perceived quality of work, knowledge of the job, for example. I think it's a very good suggestion to try to integrate more of the HR literature. I think it's a very good suggestion. So, because you are dealing with the performance of individuals, I think this link would be very good as well.
Thanks.
And maybe you can target another genre as well, because sometimes in accounting, they are hard work. These guys are very tough. And
our journal target is behavior research in accounting.
The accountants think they are very special sometimes. I can say that because I'm amongst accountants.
Yeah.
All right. I think it was great opportunity. As I said, I think it was a very good idea. I enjoyed reading the paper. I think the idea of explore performance anxiety linked to measurement constructs. I had a very quick look on Google Scholar to see papers because but I couldn't find, so I stopped. Because I just spent 5 minutes as well, so I have to be honest here. But I think it's under developed this area. I think you can make a contribution. Congratulations, your co-authors and to you as well.
Thank you, everyone, by the session. Hard, good time. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take care.